Hi guys, hope that you're well. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that might not have seen the videos before or seen what's going on this particular channel, so I'm a local league, sort of intermediate level table tennis player. I play in leagues in and around the Manchester area, so I play in Warrington, Trafford, play a little bit in Bolton and Wilmslow as well. I've just started playing a little bit more sort of nationally, so I play in national tournaments, play in Senior British League, which is kind of like the next level up from local league, compete against teams from all over the country. So yeah, my level's sort of like slowly getting better and better. So I like to, obviously like to share my matches. I also like to share the training that I do and everything that I sort of work on to try and get a little bit better. And hopefully if it's helping me to improve, then it can help you guys to improve as well. So I've got another vlog for you today. This is going to be quite an interesting one. It's one that I've been looking forward to actually for a few weeks. So it's a training day, but it's a training day with like a little bit of a twist in that it's a very specialist training day. It's with a chap called Craig Bryant, who hopefully a few of you guys will have seen before, that you'll have heard of before. He's obviously been an extremely good national level player. He's now sort of more focused on his coaching, and he's sort of like he's made serving his specialism. He's got a YouTube channel, so I'll add the links in the description to that. But it's an excellent channel and some really good stuff on it. And he obviously is very good at all the other areas, but serving is his strength, and that's where he's really kind of focused his time and energy. So I saw this advertised a few weeks ago, and I thought it'd be a really good opportunity to work on my serving. I'd say that it's an area of my game that is not necessarily, it's not a weakness, but it's not a particular strength of mine. So I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for me to to look at some ways of trying to improve my serving, and I thought it'd be really interesting as well just to see like how a day around serving will be structured. This vlog's going to be a little bit different to some of the other vlogs that I've done in the past, where I've kind of focused a little bit more on me and what I'm doing during the day, and trying to show all the bits and pieces of training that I've done myself. I obviously am going to show that, but I think that this vlog in particular, I think the main focus is going to be on Craig and Craig's explanations of the different types of serves, the different drills that he's been asking us to do. I think from from like a content point of view, just loads and loads of me just like serving away is not necessarily that interesting really. So I think that for you guys watching, you're going to get the most out of Craig's explanations, how you create different spins, how you create different angles, how you create different lengths of serve, how you create different speed. So I sort of felt that the best bit of the day was his explanations. It was obviously great for me to go away and then work on that, but I think for this vlog, I think that's going to be the main focus really, is Craig's explanations rather than the actual footage of me practicing what he said. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Like I say, I found it really good. So I'll do a little bit of a review at the end, just talk through some of the bits that really did help me. There was a few things that really did strike a chord. We'll get straight into it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in a bit.
Thank you all for signing up, really appreciated. Great to see the interest and enthusiasm in service. keeps me in a job, so thank you. Obviously service trained there, we're going to cover a huge base, a huge variety of serves and aspects of serving, from different techniques to creating deception, to adding it into competitive scenarios, understanding the process of training and kind of linking it into your match play. So we'll cover lots of aspects. I suppose the objective of the day isn't, right, learn all of these serves and master all of them. That's quite tricky to do, but to go through a number of things, and maybe if you connect with one or two things, then that's where you direct your focus, you know, after this. Yeah, some people will find the reverse serve very tough. Some people will connect with it. Yeah, some people will find the backhand serve much easier, other people won't. So it's trying to find what is what's an easier, quicker win for you, and then you can run away with that. I'll probably cover 4, maybe 5, and how I'll deliver them will be in 3 sections, I suppose. The basic technique, how to create a couple of different spins, then how to create deception, and then it's you choose the part that's relevant for you. If you've not done the serve before, you might choose the technique. If you're quite familiar with it, then you might move on to the other stages. So yeah, you pick the part that's relevant for you. So it won't be a massively strenuous day physically, but hopefully your heads will be hurting a little bit towards the end. Okay, into the first little drill then. So if you all want to either find a space at the back there or to the side, I'm going to serve from here. So you'll just be facing my back to that side. So come and find a space on the side or at the back there. So how are we serving short? Why do we serve short? Why do we want to get 2 bounces on our opponent's side? Why is that an objective?
Difficult to attack.
Okay, we're trying to hold their attack, aren't they? So that we can perhaps attack afterwards as well. So important that we have the control to be able to serve short. What do I need to do to get that? Roughly net height, bat height, 2/3 up the table with an open bat. You get those 2 things right, so my bat's too close to me here. You get those 2 things right, we should be able to get our short serve almost every time. Okay, very basic short serve to begin with, but that's what I'm assessing. Yeah, if I make a mistake and I contact too low and hit the same spot, maybe there's not quite enough room for it to lift over. Yeah, if I contact the right height but the bounce is too close to me here, not quite enough energy to get the ball over. So I'm constantly using those as a point of reference when I'm serving short. Okay, so short serve, net height, 2/3 up the table. That should allow us to get our short serve. Thinking about those points that we just mentioned, how do I get the serve long and fast? What do I need to do? Think about this. So you mentioned the height. Yes. Is there anything changing here?
Yeah, it's close to the white line. Lower down.
So lower down and close to the white line. Okay. And instead of being under the ball, we're going to be hitting more back of the ball. So really low, really close. And that's going to allow us to get this long, fast serve. If I hit really low, my bounce goes too far up the table. There's not enough room for that ball to lift.
Yep.
If I contact too high and really close, then I get a big bouncing serve, and then someone can step around and hit a big forehand at me. Yeah. So again, once again, I'm assessing those 2 points as I'm working through things. Okay, far too much talking for me. We'll get on the tables. Just for 5 or 6 minutes, I want you to work through 10 short serves and 10 long serves. Just focusing on this. Maybe even assess yourself on how many short serves you can get with 2 bounces in a row. Yeah, and then moving on to the long serve. But I just want you to think about those points. Then we're going to add a bit of a task and a challenge to it. Okay.
So even though Craig did say to us that he wanted us to serve both short and long, I just decided to use this as an opportunity to practice the long, fast serve. It's something that I'm not particularly good at. I seem to find that I very rarely hit it fast enough. I tend to pop it up a little bit too high. It's just not a very effective serve. Really, the long, fast serve needs to be catching somebody out. And if you're serving and it's just, not low enough, not fast enough, then it just doesn't really serve any purpose, and it'll allow a much better player to be able to attack it. So you can see here as it goes along that the serve definitely does get better, lower, faster, and I also try to mix it up by not only putting it into the backhand corner but into the forehand as well.
we are going to put this, what we've just worked on, into a slightly different scenario. And for me, this is quite an important part of the process. So, developing new skills, I try and split them up into the 3 R's. Okay, so we've got repetition, we've got retrieval, and we've got rehearsal. Okay, so it's a concept that comes from the theatre, but we can apply it here. So repetition, when we're working on one thing, say I'm working on my long serve, I'm not quite getting it, I'm able to make these little tweaks and changes to try and figure out the thing that I need to do. Maybe it's a contact, maybe it's a timing, maybe it's a thought process, whatever it may be, it allows me to find an answer. We don't have that luxury in matches, unfortunately, to fire in 10 balls and then go, no, this is the one that counts. Yeah, so we don't have that luxury to be able to do it. So this element is called skill retrieval, where you're doing something else and then you're forcing your brain to recall the information that you've previously learned and execute it first time. Okay? Also, you're challenging yourself to do. And then when it's successful or not, we build the distraction back in, and then once again you have to pull out that information. So, whilst the exercise might seem quite simple, what it's doing to your brain is just massively important. Yeah, when you go to sleep tonight, they're the connections that you'll make. So, we're going to use what we've just done. There's going to be a towel set up, which is roughly the bat's height into the corner there. The task is going to be 3 short serves with a minimum of 2 bounces. Okay, so just like that. You can edit that one out. Okay, so minimum 2 bounces. That's 1, 2. Just again, I'm still thinking about the things that we've just gone through. 3. Now I've learned the right to go for this long fast one into this corner. Right, and I've only got 1 chance to make it. Right, so there's a little bit of pressure, compose myself, take my time, focus on these external things that I've spoken about, low and close. That's what's going to allow me a chance to get that. Too short. So now, next time I've got to go, right, I need a bit more pace in that, or let it drop, but I've got to go back to these. I'll go back to my 3, I've got to earn the right to go for that again. Yeah, so it adds a little bit of pressure to your training, and much more consideration. That's my 3. Right, so I need more pace this time. Can I make it this time? Too much pace. The next time I'm going to try and find a balance in that. Right? But I don't get the chance to just constantly make these little changes. You know, I'm forcing myself to recall this information from what I've previously figured out. So you've got repetition, and then we've got skill retrieval, which is this element. So the short serves are there, we want good quality, but that's not where the thought process is. Everything is around this long fast.
I felt that this was a great little exercise for me, 2 reasons. First of all, I do get an awful lot of comments on the videos saying that I do serve long quite a lot. So this was a really good opportunity to first of all just really focus on serving short. Obviously not like a huge amount of spin on the short serves, but really just making sure that the ball stays nice and low and that there's at least 2 or 3 bounces, which I'm doing quite well here actually. I think the second thing as well is the change in emotion from the short serve to the long fast serve. The one thing that I do have to be a little bit careful of, you can see there that I'm almost telegraphing that I'm going to do the long fast serve. So I didn't realise this until I actually watched it back, that when I'm doing the short serve, I keep the bat angle sort of relatively open, I would say. So relatively sort of like flat pointing towards the ceiling, which is really good because it allows me to kind of like brush underneath the ball. But then as I do the long fast serve here, as I take it back, I close the bat and make it quite obvious that I'm going to do the serve. I mean, I think at this stage the main emphasis is just being able to do the serves well, you know, with a high amount of quality. I think that disguising them and adding deception is something that's going to come in a little bit further down the line.
There's not too much of a difference when we're changing from short to long. Okay? So an extreme example on the Mike here, this one. So Mike's short serve was here, yeah, and then his long serve is here. Yeah. What's the potential issue with that?
The opponent.
Okay, so as soon as he steps across to his backhand,
Yeah.
stand back, get ready for this long serve going, yeah? So that's a more obvious tell. Some people have some more subtle tells. Either way, we're trying to make them as similar as possible. Okay? A real common one when people serve down the line is that suddenly their ball touch becomes very straight. Yeah, so they can create this angle, whereas lots of people throw the ball back slightly. This is kind of fairly normal. Yeah? When they're serving short or cross, then suddenly this ball's much straighter. So when I see this straighter ball, I'm not turning out the corner anymore. I'm waiting for this one to happen. Yeah. Some people do this. Look when they serve. Some people throw the ball up higher for one, not the other. Yeah, there's loads of different tells. So as a returner, it's good to look for those things and you pick up on those patterns. As a server, you're trying to keep those things as simple as possible. We're going to move on to the first technique then, which is going to be hook serve, jab serve, or punch, or shovel, or infinite names. This is the serve that I use most of the time. This is my strength, and I use to serve in many different ways. And the coach said to me, which do you think is your strongest serve? This one, right? Okay, go and practice that one. Okay, so. As is the concept of this day, when you find something, a technique or a thought process or a way of challenging it, then you focus your attention on that. When I had that kind of focus given to me, then I started to what can I create? Can I create different spins? Can I create different shapes? Can I do it to different positions? Can I make one look like the other? Yeah, whereas when my thought process was on all these different serves, I'm not focused on it. So this is why this is my strongest serve, because I focused on it. From here, I'm side on. My racket face is open here. My bat is coming back behind my body, and then I'm thinking about brushing around the outside of the ball towards you. Okay? So from here, brushing around the outside of the ball here, trying to get that ball moving from left to right. Yeah, this is quite a common thing where we end up pushing through the back of the ball. Yeah, and we don't get so much spin, we end up just pushing it through. Okay, so the contact is really important. It's that thin brushing contact. There's not a lot of wrist in this at this stage. It's mainly coming from the elbow. But the key thing is, and I ran one of these days yesterday as well, is that if this elbow doesn't come back, then we don't end up pushing around it. You know, we end up here, and then most people end up turning it into a pendulum or something different. Making sure that we're drawing this elbow back. The next part is producing two different spins. So how do I get backspin using this technique? What do I need to do? So trying to aim for that front part of the bat, and as I'm coming through from this angle here, then my bat's just starting to come underneath the ball a little bit more. Yeah, and then I'm looking for that sharp turn on the table. That's good confirmation that I'm catching that with some backspin. The ball's not going to come back to me, because it's not clean backspin, yeah, it's still coming around it. So I'm looking for that turn on the table. What do I need to change for topspin? Be underneath it so much. So it's going to be a little bit more this angle, and I'm pushing around the back of the ball. Right. So the backspin was the front part of the bat, pushing towards the net post, yeah, this sort of line. Now it's this part of the bat, and I'm focusing, certainly mentally thinking about pushing my bat down the line of the table here. Okay, so this is the topspin. But we think of the flight of the ball. Where's it going? So there's a small curve, isn't there? And then it straightens off.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got the backspin that's holding over here, and then the topspin that's going straight. So I'm imparting mainly side spin with a little bit of top. As it bounces, it changes from side into a bit of side and top. As it bounces again, then it's almost pure topspin. It's not a ton of topspin, but it's almost topspin by the time it comes to leap moment. Right, so those contact points and the line of direction can make a big difference. Third part, if it's relevant for anyone, we'll cover it anyway, useful to know what the next stage is. How am I creating a deception of this? If I keep the backspin simple, and I'm just trying to guide through this way here, that's my finishing point here.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking about pushing around the topspin, but then I'm trying to finish my bat in a simple way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one ball that's held and one that's gone across.
Yeah.
The quicker, after I've made contact, the quicker I can move that bat down, the more effective it's going to be. And this will start in this way. You will start like that. There will be a delay. People will laugh at you. So they won't. But it's important to do that and understand the process, and then you start to build that speed up. So that's one variation. You could also catch with backspin. Try and lift that bat up to finish. Yeah, as if we're trying to impart topspin. Once again, it's the speed in which you can move the bat up that creates that deception. Okay. It's a heavy Sunday, isn't it?
So I think this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to actually come on this training day, just to get like a little bit more of an insight into developing the jab serve. I know that Craig is renowned for having a really effective, really deceptive jab serve, and it's one of the main serves that I've been using over the last sort of like 12 to 18 months.
That's heavy. It's a good backspin. Looks heavy. Nice. Good change. Backspin still, but long, yeah? Have you got a topspin variation? What part are you working on?
I must admit, this is all backspin I'm working on at the moment. The topspin one, what I tend to change, it's interesting when you talk about, because I don't tend to think about the contact point on the bat. I tend to think more about where I'm putting on the ball. So when I'm doing the backspin one, I try to think about going here. I'm doing the topspin one, I try to think about, obviously change the bat angle a little bit and trying to come more, so literally from there to more back.
Fine, yeah.
So this will do like the sort of topspin.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. So absolutely fine to think of it in that way. The parts that you add on to that, just the parts to add on, so if I keep that as a basic concept, well, you're going to see two different things here. You're either going to see this angle, or he's going to see this here. Yeah. So it's fine to have that concept, but you need to make sure that you're starting in the same way as well as finishing with some deception. Because you looked very natural at doing this as well, but because you started like this and started like that, it's declaring it. So just making sure that you start in a similar position, top spin and down, and then I'm also here for my backspin down. Both of us are considered. I've got Rob now, look, I've got him. Whereas if I do this, and then do this, that start just gives them an indication as to what's going on.
So I think that adding to what Craig was just saying to me there, as well as obviously making sure that I have a very similar starting bat angle and finishing bat angle for the deception, I was finding as this exercise went on that changing the contact point on the bat made a huge difference to the amount of spin that I was getting on the ball. Contacting it on the leading edge, or the front edge for the backspin, and then come more towards the back edge of the bat for the top spin, really did change it.
be able to get spin on our serves. We need a brushing contact, and we don't want a thick, dull contact. We need this light contact on the ball. Yeah, we need that. We need speed as well, don't we? Yeah. So we have a brushing action, but there's not so much speed there. We're not going to get much. And we need that little zip to be able to create spin as well. So it's the brushing action. It's really important. The speed in which that happens. What could we add to that afterwards? So then we start adding the wrist, and that's going to allow us to accelerate even more. So if I squeeze my bat quite hard, when we squeeze the bat, that locks the wrist, so there's no wrist in it. If I'm squeezing the bat tight, but I still get a brush on the ball, I can still create some decent spin. Yeah, so it shows you how important the brushing action is. If I soften that grip a little bit so that my wrist is mobile, then I can get more spin with the addition of that brushing action and the wrist. Yeah, now the ball's accelerating back to me. So the brushing contact is key when we're trying to produce spin. I'm thinking about this being loose, and then on the point of contact there's a squeeze. And with the finger and thumb squeezing, it allows me to accelerate the racket head forward. Yeah, that snap there is just going to create that. This is where the cones come out. It helps us understand what we're creating and how important these different angles of where we make contact influence what's happening on the other side. What percentage of each do I need? Do I need one back spin and one side spin? A lot of back, mostly back. Okay, so although we're trying to get the ball to move to the side, we need mainly back. So my bat is flat, and I go through the ball, it comes directly back to me in a straight line. If I lift the handle slightly, now the ball takes off to the side, as well as back. So that's the shape that I'm trying to create on that side. Okay, so flat bat, lifting the handle, that's the shape that I'm trying to stay all the way through that contact. And it's that gives me a chance to get through that. So I need a little bit more pace on that, and then it's probably there. So it's a bit of a control challenge. Again, it's really helping me understand what happens here. If I go too extreme with this angle here, it's side and top. It's never going to come around. Yeah, so these angles here make a huge difference. How hard am I working for that? How much effort am I putting in to make that happen? Not much.
a lot, no.
Not much at all. Yeah, I guarantee we'll see this. Yeah, people think it's such an extreme angle, we put a ton of effort into it. But it's not that. Like I said, it's about understanding spin. It's how we deliver the ball into the table that creates these effects. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with serving into the table, getting more pace, getting more distance. Absolutely acceptable. But for this challenge here that we've set, it's important that we lift the ball into the table. So my bat is flat. That's creating a lift. And that lift allows time for the spin to take effect. So it's how you're delivering the ball into the table.
So this was a really valuable, fantastic little exercise actually. It was really interesting to note that you do tend to start off, like Craig was saying in his description, where you're trying to hit the ball, trying to accelerate really, really quickly. And you can see here now that I'm creating some really, really nice spin, and I'm not really trying that hard. I think it's more about the brushing and, you know, just really, really sort of like fine contact on the ball that creates the spin. It's not necessarily massive acceleration of the wrist or the hand. I mean, obviously fast acceleration combined with brushing really does create a huge amount of spin. But I think that's the problem, that sometimes you can try a little bit too hard to you know, like really generate the spin, really increase the racket speed. But if you do that and then you end up with quite a clunky contact, then the ball will just go longer and not as much spin. So it's actually the fine brushing, I think, that is more important rather than the really fast acceleration.
The direction of the bat, wherever you hit, doing that, you're going to cause fracture. Rather than kind of standing straight like this, I would be more to the side. I would be coming from the side. Okay. Then it's a little bit easier to control. It looks a little more natural then as well. Rather than from here and here, it's a little bit awkward. So if you stand a little bit more side on, then you've got this freedom to have this swing through. Low down here, lifting the ball over it. Up and over. Yeah. And you need that little zip.
So the improvement in my backhand backspin serve here is quite noticeable in a very short space of time. We saw that first one, it drifted long with very little spin, and now it's actually getting some quite nice backspin. I've never been able to do that before, where I've been able to actually hit like a backhand serve and get it to stop so quickly. I think you can see here that the basket is a really good visual to try and actually lift the ball up and over it. But if you look at this compared to where Craig's actually making contact, he's contacting the ball a lot lower and then almost lifting up the front of the ball. So I think this is something that I can continue to work on, letting the ball drop nice and low to the table and then going straight underneath it and feeling like you're coming up the front of the ball. You can see there, look at that, that was really nice.
To almost stay in position, and the shot's going to come from the elbow here. From the elbow here, wrist and elbow, shooting forward. Okay. You can see that ball moving from right to left. Horribly awkward technique. So if you're struggling with that, often what happens is we start in this position, the ball goes up, and then we want to revert back to this pendulum or something. So if you're really trying to develop it, try and find yourself in this position first. This isn't for the longevity of the serve, this is to try and master the shape. So start here, and as the ball drops, then we come out from here. And again, starting in this position, maybe sometimes you can even hook it onto your hip. This edge of the bat onto your hip, and as the ball drops, and then it can come out. So we're just trying to force this action to happen. Okay, so that's the basic technique. From here, bat starting close to our body and then moving away. The opposite to the pendulum. Pendulum starting out, coming close. This one starting close, coming away. Different spins. How do we get different spins doing this? How do we get backspin? Yeah. So from here, where do I want to be aiming for?
Front edge.
So this leading edge, yeah? So that's the leading edge here. So now I want to be hitting here and trying to get underneath the ball as much as I can. Yeah, and again, I'm after a sharp turn on the table, really flat, coming right underneath it. What do I need to change for topspin? How am I going to get topspin? It's going to be, so the bottom here is going to be the leading edge, right? So it's going to be a little bit more in the middle, and I want to contact it kind of on the way out of the technique. Yeah, so on the backspin, it's really within here, yeah, and the topspin's going to be on the way out, a little bit more in the middle. You can see my bat's a little bit more open now. Yeah, and then the ball's travelling straighter. So we're doing big turn for backspin and a much straighter trajectory for topspin. Okay, so we've got backspin first, and then topspin. So two examples. Easy. Alright? And then we're trying to, third part, if we get there, is just make them look similar, or try to implement that. So if my backspin one is finishing low and over the table here, and once I've created that topspin, yeah, so I'm trying to mimic that finish. Right? So technique, couple of spins, and then deception if you get to that stage. Okay.
So this I found really difficult. Thought that Craig's advice where, you know, we're actually getting the bat in the starting position, which was putting it up against your right hip, was really effective actually in getting you just starting it off correctly. You can see here though that as I then kind of go to hit the serve, I sort of like move a little bit, the bat kind of like moves into slightly the wrong position, and then I'm actually tipping like the front edge of the bat up a little bit. You see there, which is obviously why I hit the ball up. Again, you know, this is a good reason why recording yourself and being able to look back over it is crucial, because when I was actually doing this exercise I didn't realise I was doing that at all. It's only through watching this back afterwards that I realised that, you know, that I'm doing it. You can see there from my rehearsal that was the correct motion, but then as soon as I actually do the serve again, I tip the front edge of the bat back up. So this kind of like explains why the actual quality of the serve is relatively poor. As the exercise went on and I kind of like started to get more used to the motion, which is not really a natural motion at all, the quality does start to improve a little bit. It starts to get a little bit lower. I actually get like a nice amount of spin on it, but the only problem was that it was just mainly sort of side and top. It was really difficult to get any backspin on it at all. Craig made it look really easy, and he was actually showing us that you can get some pretty decent backspin doing this motion, which is pretty darn tricky. Actually getting side and top is a lot easier.
Moving forward, which technique, which variations are going to work for you, and then you don't have to stress yourself with your training. You've done 10 minutes 3 times a week, 15 minutes 3 times a week, dedicated practice. Right, I'm trying to produce more spin, or I'm trying to create these different effects with these. But make sure training purposeful, you'll make a big difference. If you ever find yourself just practicing with a box of balls and just going through the motions, nothing goes on upstairs. Yeah, nothing will go in. So you've got to make sure that your training is purposeful and challenging. Yeah, something that you can't do. Yeah. If we're practicing something that we can do, we're just, you know, we're maintaining the skill that we've got. We've got to practice things that we can't yet do. What you might need to do in the future, maybe the 3 R's: repetition, retrieval, rehearsal. Yeah, make sure you construct these. Any questions at all from the day?
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, so there we go. That was the vlog. Absolutely fantastic day. I have to say that I think, you know, Craig is a superb guy. He's a really nice guy. He's got a great sense of humour. He delivered the day fantastically. There was just loads and loads of good stuff there. So yeah, and I mean, I just want to say first and foremost, you know, big thanks to Craig. I think, like I was saying in the introduction, it was one of those where I wasn't totally sure what to expect in terms of like how you would go about, you know, organising like a full day of training all around serving. But I think, as you saw there, that there was some, you know, there was obviously loads and loads of really good technical explanations. Yeah, we were really kind of delving into, you know, the key aspects like the, you know, contact point on the back, contact point on the ball, where the ball's bouncing on the table. So there was quite a lot of stuff to digest really. So but I think for me the really useful bits of the day was one of the first exercises that we did, which was we had to do 3 short serves and then a long fast serve, and you had to do the 3 short serves to kind of like qualify to do the long fast serve. And so I think that was really good, because it's like he was saying that you can get, if you're practicing, you can kind of get into a little bit of a rhythm. You know, if you do a long fast serve, long fast serve, long fast serve, long fast serve, you get into a nice kind of flow of doing it really. And he said it's not realistic because in a match you're not going to be doing that many long fast serves anyway. So you're only really going to throw those in every once in a while. Certainly, you know, when you're starting to play against these better level players, you can't be serving long and fast all the time. You want it as the element of surprise. So it's really, really important to be able to switch from the short tight serve to a long fast serve, and it's probably one of the things that I do struggle with. And certainly when I'm in a match, a little bit tight, there's a bit of adrenaline there. I sometimes feel that I don't do the long fast serves well enough. I almost kind of bottle out them a little bit and end up kind of doing something that resembles a long fast serve, but it's not particularly fast, it's not that long, and the quality's not good enough. So the little bits and pieces of advice that he was kind of giving us to think about to allow you to change from the short serve to long serve, I thought was excellent, which was really to focus on where the ball bounces on your side of the table, and then also the height that the ball's going to go over the net as well is another real important consideration. So those two together, if you can kind of think about that when you're in a match and focus on that, it gets you away from, oh, I'm worried that I'm going to miss it, I'm not going to do it fast enough, I'm not going to do it short enough. So it was, I think that's given me something really, really good to think about. As a lot of you will have, seen, a lot of you have commented on my matches that I don't serve short enough. And I think throughout the day, I did work on lots and lots of short serves, and I did feel that the quality of the short serves was actually quite good. So I did find that really useful. But the main thing he was saying is that if you're going to do like a short, if you want to try and keep your serve really, really short, then the bounce of the ball on your side of the table needs to be quite close to the net. So you're actually trying to get the ball to bounce close to the net, nice and low over it, and then either a little bit of backspin to bring it back, or float, where obviously there's nothing really on that. So those are the two sort of like main short serves. You can't really do like a short topspin serve because the topspin's going to kick it forward. So if you're going to keep it short, it really needs to be backspin, float, maybe a little bit of side spin. But yeah, so to really focus on that first bounce being quite close to the net. Then when you then change to do the long fast serve, you want to focus on letting the ball drop a little bit lower. So the short backspin serve or the short float serve, you're going to try and contact it at roughly net height. But then the long fast serve, you're going to contact it a lot lower, and the first bounce has got to be really close to the white line, to the edge of the table. And once I kind of had that in my head, I did find that the switch between the short serve and the long fast one became a lot easier because I was focusing on that. I think I certainly have never really done that when I've been playing in a match, and then I'll kind of try and do a long fast serve, don't do it properly, I either miss it or don't do a good quality one, and then I don't want to do it again. So I thought that was excellent. That was really, really good. I did find that there was another exercise that we did again, which was like on pendulum, where there was two cones on the table, and the idea was to try and get the ball to go past the cones and then come back again through them. I did find that really, really useful. Again, I sort of practiced it time and time again to try and keep the ball nice and sort of low over the net, trying to really brush like underneath it as well. It's almost like a ghost type serve. And I found that, again, I was able to kind of, once I had the feeling for that, I was able to do that regularly. So that was really, really good. And also trying to use that same idea of this ghost type motion where you go straight underneath the ball, backspin serve with your backhand. So to really kind of like, go straight underneath the ball, rather than with most of my backhand serves, I tend to go down and through, which does create a little bit of backspin, but it makes the ball go quite long and there's not much spin on it. So rather than going down this way, going forward and really like almost coming up the front of the ball, helps keep the ball nice and low, and there was a decent amount of spin on the ball as well, which I don't tend to really get on my backhand serves. So that was really, really good. That whole exercise there of trying to get the ball to go through the cones with backhand and forehand serves. I picked up some really good tips as well on the jab serve, which I use quite a lot, and that's kind of like his specialist serve. And it was quite an interesting one really, because he did mention that one of his coaches said to him, because he used to do loads and loads of different types of serves, and then his coach said to him, well, which is the one that you feel that you're the best at? And he said, well, it's probably the jab serve. So he's like, right, go away and make that as good, make that as good as you possibly can. So I thought that was quite an interesting kind of concept really, because I think that's the one thing that I can maybe whittle down a little bit, is I do have a huge variation in terms of the types of serve that I have. I have, I've got like a tomahawk serve, I've got pendulum serves, I've got I've got my jab serve, I've got like mini jab serve, I've got various different backhand serves, so I've actually got quite a lot. So I think that's something that I can think about going forward, is to perhaps reduce the variety of those, so bring that down a little bit and just have 2 or 3 key serves that I go to, and then just maybe have like a, a tomahawk and some of these other ones, just as I'll throw it once in a blue moon type thing. Yeah, so I thought, yeah, like I say, all in all, it was a great day. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm sure that there's loads and loads of really good stuff in there. Like I say, it's probably not the most exciting in terms of, there's no big rallies or, like heavy topspin shots or anything, which is obviously a lot of the stuff that I really enjoy doing. But it's, this is a really important part of table tennis. And, I'm starting to learn now that, there's certain elements to the game that I've got to get much better at that aren't necessarily really fun to practice. So pushing, touching, serving, receives, like those 4 elements there straight away are, they're quite boring to practice. For me to develop as a player, and I think for you guys out there to develop as players as well, especially against, some of these, I mean, it depends on the level that you play at really, but I would say, when you start against like top local league, start against a national level, these little kind of like the more boring elements of the game are really important. So, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed that. Got lots and lots more content coming soon. Like I say, keep enjoying the table tennis, and I'll see you again soon.